Oi, oi, hello and welcome to another GG.CO.UK trends video, kindly sponsored by Ball Sports. It's Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to one and all. It also means that we are coming into the week of Aintree Festival. I already published a Grand National Trends video last week, so you can go check that out if you haven't already. But in this video, I'll be as quick and concise as I can be. There are 5 more feature races at the Aintree Festival that I've done cheat sheets for. So there will be links in the description for every single one of these articles. The Melling Chase is yet to be published on the site, but I'll send an email to the lads over the weekend and then Monday I'll update the links in there. For each of the races, I normally put some sort of detail underneath, but I'm going to put the cheat sheet to the side here, read out the stats from there. Melling Chase, because it's not on the website yet, won't actually be up in normal form, but we can still run through them. And it's going to be 3 days of glorious action. The sun's been shining for a long, long time. They've got selective watering at the course at the moment. It's good to soft. I think they're watering to try and keep it as that or to try and even ease the ground a little bit, but you don't want it to be artificially soft. But as much as there is warm weather, it's going to be a fantastic week for people that get to the meeting. It's going to be some nice grounds to race on too, hopefully. And there's going to be some very good clashes. So we'll crack on. As I say, I'll pull up to the side the cheat sheet stats. I give an overview in these cheat sheet stats where it is basically the top line trends. In each of the articles, I do delve into lots of different categories in more detail, talk about official ratings, whether the highest rated in the horse in the highest rated horse in the race is always the one to go with. For handicaps at the top, I give a bit of a range in there. Look at weights too. We look at headgear angles. We look at age. We look at form for the season. We look at track records. But in the top trends, they are the highlighted 6 or 7 that maybe I think are most prevalent towards winning these races. So we'll kick straight on with the Aintree Bowl, which it looks a cracking race. At the time of recording, we don't have entries up for Saturday yet. So the Liverpool Hurdle is the only race we wouldn't have horses in there. But you're going to get the likes of Strong Leader in there. There's even been mentioned that maybe Tiapu comes again, but we'll see who goes into those races. But as for the ones that we have got, the Aintree Bowl, we've got Grey Dawning's top in the market at the moment, a 2-1 favourite. Spillane's Tower looks like he's going to come over for Jimmy Mangan, 5-2 shot. Gaelic Warriors 5-1 in here. Stage Stars 6-1. Ahoy Signor's been nibbled. He loves it at Aintree, doesn't he? He's 5-1 in here. Protectorat's 8, but he has other options. Embassy Gardens 9-1, then it's 16-1 bar. So look, this is a race that probably will cut up from the entries that are in there, but it looks like it's going to be an absolute banger. So what would it take to typically win an Aintree Bowl? So 7 trends have been picked up on the cheat sheet that's now up on the screen. You're looking for a horse that is aged between 8 and 10 years old. That is inclusive. Is the favourite and priced between 13-8 and 9-4. Now, look, I know we're starting off on trends where we're suggesting a favourite's the way to go, but there are some races where it's not so much worth taking them on. Again, you can read more details in the favourite part in the article. Has an official rating of 168 plus, but is not necessarily the top rated runner. So look, this is a serious division where you have these Stay and Chases, Open Company. They're very good horses. Should have an official rating of 168 plus, but doesn't need to be the highest rated runner. Did not win last time out. That's been a positive trend for this type of race. 6 of the last 10 winners were beaten in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Only 1 of the last 10 winners was beaten in the Ryanair Chase. So with the Melling Chase as an option, horses that get beaten in a Gold Cup might come here. Horses that miss the festival may come here. Has run 3 to 5 times this season and won once or twice. So that'll tick the boxes for plenty of horses in here, I think. And is already a multiple Grade 1 winner. So that can help us find the winner for an Aintree Bowl. Like I say, you could be looking towards the head of the market. Lots of detail in the description articles that I've done where you can delve in a little bit deeper if you'd like to. So we've also got on the Thursday the Aintree Hurdle, which is mouth-watering, isn't it, at the entry stage. We've got Constitution Hill heading the betting at 8-11. Lossy Mouth is 9-4. Brighter Days Ahead's 4-1. It's 10-1 bar with Woodhoo potentially going to take her chance against the big kids at Aintree. I'd love to see that, to be fair. This just looks like it could be an absolute phenomenal race. It's what you want to see in terms of potentially Constitution Hill, Lossy Mouth and Brighter Days Ahead going against each other again. We know that she's a very good mare. She just, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to like it around Cheltenham. But trendy-wise, is this going to be the race that's going to, I don't know, are we going to see a shock like we did in the Champion Hurdle? We can have a look at it. Constitution Hill did take this race a couple of years ago, didn't it? And I personally have said at the time, and I still believe it now, it was one of his worst performances. So coming off the back of a fall at Cheltenham, I mean, he is an absolute aeroplane. He's an absolute monster, but is he opposable? Well, let's see what the old cheat sheet trends say. There's 6 of them that are now up on the screen. The winner will be aged 6 to 9 years old, but probably no older than 8. So where I've done that as a top line trend, when you look at the age stats, 6 to 9 is the most prolific winners, but recently it's been no older than 8. Look to the top 3 in the market, but favourites have been very costly to follow. So again, there's more detail in those in the article. They will hold an official rating of 161 plus, that's including the mare's allowance, but does not need to be the top rated runner. That probably coincides a bit with the favourites being costly to favourite with not having to be the top rated runner. They have one at Aintree, or is having their first run at Aintree. So that's going to be, I guess, a box not ticked for horses that have run at Aintree and got beat, but anything else is a potential positive. We'll have 3 to 5 runs this season and probably didn't win last time out. So obviously that's a potential positive for Constitution Hill and for brighter days ahead should they come here. But are we really going to knock Nossie Mouth for hacking up in a mare's hurdle? I don't know. It's preferred but not required to have run at 2 mile 4 furlongs plus before now. So that will have an impact on certain horses that might come in here, with this being the middle distance grade 1 of the season. So cracking looking race there. We'll kick on to the Melling Chase, which I haven't got the cheat sheet bits to go up for on there, but I can quickly surmise the top line trends that are in there. It's a race where we're going to see John Bon line up. Gaelic Warrior I touched on as an entry in the bowl. The ground, I don't know, might be too quick for him, but they've got a race at some point, I guess. He's in here. So it's 4 to 5 John Bon, 9 to 2 Gaelic Warrior. Heartwood, he's a horse that a lot of people have said, where would you really fit him in there? This looks like the right kind of test for him. 9 to 2 though. Protector Rat's 11 to 2 in here. El Fabiolo 6 to 1. Obviously missed Cheltenham, but they talked about potentially running him here. Embassy Gardens also has an entry near at 14 to 1, and then it's a bit bigger for the rest, but I'll talk about them anyway. Master Chewy 33 to 1, Matata 25 to 1, Liberty Hunter 33 to 1. As much as they are rank outsiders, I wouldn't say that they are complete and utter back numbers, but what would the trends suggest that we need to see for a Melling Chase winner? So it says that the winner will be 6 to 9 years old and more recently no older than 8 years old. So very similar to what we had in the Aintree Hurdle. You want to respect favourites in here and the top 3 in the market. The horse or the winner of this race is likely to be no bigger than 6 to 1. We'll have an official rating of 161 or higher. Probably didn't win last time out, but did run at Cheltenham. Will have run at Aintree before, but does not have to have won here. Likely to have 2 or 3 wins this season. So I think off the back of those trends, you can whittle this field down quite significantly. Who knows? It may be that we end up with John Bon as the top of the tree in there, but it'll be fascinating to see this race. I love the 2.5 mile division being a real grade 1 target here. I know we've got the Ryanair, but the fact we've got the Hurdle and then we've got the Melling Chase, it's just decent racing, right? Right, we kick on now to the first handicap. Well, the only handicap I've done the cheat sheets for at Cheltenham. I say the only handicap, I did the Grand National, didn't I? You can go check that out too. But this is for the Topham Chase. It's a hard one, really, with this, because there has been lots of horses, I think, in the past that you would imagine would be suited to this. There are lots of horses that have been touted for the race throughout the entirety of the season, such as last year's winner, Arizona Cardinal. They've said about coming back in here. But I don't know, I feel like when I look at this race without looking at stats, there's normally something I want to get stuck into at a bit of a price. But is that really the way to go? Well, the cheat sheet's going to tell us. We've got 7 trends that I would suggest are prevalent in here. Again, they're up on the screen now. There's no real age bias, right? 5, 6 and 7-year-olds do hold the best strike rate, so the number of wins to runners. But in terms of a betting perspective and in terms of even with those strike rates, you wouldn't discriminate against any age in here. Is priced between 13 to 2 and 8 to 1. So where I touched on, I get the vibe and the feeling that something at a price is going to go well here. At the moment, I think it's about 7 to 1 bar the field and it's 10 to 1 next in. They are going to shorten up, and market support does seem to be significant in here. So, like, is priced between 13 to 2 and 8 to 1, and that is at SP, so that'll be almost one you have to sit and wait on. Only one favourite has won this century, and they were a joint favourite. So again, I've talked about the prices they are now. I've talked about the fact that the prices may shorten up. Again, in the article, it's detailed to do with favourites and rankings of where they are in the market. But you're looking for a horse potentially priced between 32 and 8 to 1, but not necessarily the favourite in there. And the one that was a favourite was a joint favourite. But then maybe we're due one. It depends which way you want to look at it, right? Is officially rated 133 to 142. So that's quite a big window. And is carrying 10 stone 10 to 11 stone 2. So when you combine the two of those, I've put some details in there about how much money and profit that could make to back those types of things blind. And with these handicaps, especially when it comes to weight and official rating, even if it's not essential, it's still worth profiling a bit of a band because, you know, horses can win from any part of the ratings, any part of the weights as well. But if you do have a bit of a niche period where they are in, there is obviously many places up for grabs in there. As much as you want to try and find the winner, there could be good profiles to find for place money in here too. Completed on their last start and placed in the top 2. There have been a lot of horses that refused, unseated, fell last time out that have not done very well in this race. And placing in the top 2 sounds fairly obvious, but it's been a very strong pointer in this race. Again, more detail in the article. Trend 6 is like slightly worded incorrectly. When I submit this stuff over, I do put the key trends in there, then they can get a little bit tweaked when we go into here. So we can get this one worked on. But it says here has not necessarily run over the fences, but has won if they have. It hasn't been done specifically to the fences for that trend 6. So what it should read, and you can see that in the article, the key trends, doesn't need to have run at Aintree, but if they have, you want to favour horses that have won at the track. It may be that it is over the Grand National style fences, but that isn't always necessary either. And then trend 7 has not won over further than 3 miles. The recent winners of this race had not won over further than 3 miles. You go back a little while, because we go back to the beginning of the century to look at these races, and horses did used to run and win over those sorts of trips, but now it does seem to be much more horses that are in the mid-range of a distance, and they're not sort of staying boaty type horses within the race. But there, look, trends are there to be broken, right? And I'll get that article bit updated on there, although the visual's up now and I've explained where we're at. Now, Liverpool Hurdle, we do not have the entries for this race. I touched on a couple of horses that may go in here, but there's 8 trends that I think are worth considering for this race. So we'll whittle through those as we can now. The winner will be aged 6 to 8. And 7-year-olds have the best place strike rate. So again, I alluded to it slightly in the top there, that we're not just about finding the winner. There can be some each way alternatives too. It will be aged 6 to 8 will be the winner, and 7-year-olds have the best place strike rate. So you might fancy one at a bit of a price that could be helpful. Favourites perform slightly below expectations. Now, I've mentioned that because they're not ones to avoid. They're just a little bit lower than they would be. And what we mean by expectations is if you've got 2 even money favourites for this race, they'd have a 50% chance each. You would expect across those 2 renewals, one of those favourites to have won. Across the longer period where we've done these trends, favourites perform just slightly under expectations. So they're not ones you definitely want to avoid, but you're not going to get rich backing them. If anything, you will. You'll lose a small amount of money. Trend 3, runners priced 9 to 2 to 6 to 1 and 14 to 1 to 20 to 1 have been profitable in the last 10 years or the last 10 renewals for 100% return on investment. So there is windows of obviously where prices can sit. Now, horses that would be priced bigger than 6 to 1 all the way up to 14 to 1, so that would like include anything, wouldn't it, 13 to 2 up to 12 to 1. So they've obviously got chances, but the way that it's panned out in this race, 9 to 2 to 6 to 1's been profitable and 14 to 1 to 20 to 1's been profitable. So again, details in the description for that one. Probably is not the top rated runner in the field, but will hold an official rating of 156 plus. Talked about some of the races earlier where we were talking about 160s horses. 156 is enough to give yourself a real strong chance in this race. Trend 5, just one winner since 2016 came from the Stayers Hurdle at Cheltenham. Almost astounding that, but this is a target race in its own right. Runners priced 8 to 1 or shorter who have won at Aintree are profitable to back blind. So talking about course form, lots of horses that come into this race may have won at Aintree, but if you backed runners that were priced 8 to 1 or shorter who have won at Aintree, they are profitable just to back those blind. Trend 7 is they ideally have already won a Grade 1. Again, we're talking about some serious names and horses that will win this race and that will be targeting this, but it's not essential to have won a Grade 1, but ideally they will have done. And runners with their furthest win at 2 mile, 4 furlong or shorter are profitable to back blind in the last 10 renewals for an 88% return on investment. We'll talk about the fact that Cheltenham Hill, and it can be a bit of a test, and it is the top tier stay in hurdle event of the season, but Aintree we do talk about being probably an easier 3 miles to get, and that's proven there that horses that have never even won at the distance have got a profitable return on investment in the last 10 renewals. But again, there's more details in the description if you want to whittle down on those. Thank you so much for your guys' support. We'll be back on Wednesday with a Weekend Watch covering the Grand National episode. There is a significant update in this week's Weekend Watch, so look forward to seeing you all there. We really do appreciate your guys' support. Make sure you're dropping a like on the video. Drop a comment below whatever your best bet or the race you're most excited about for the Aintree Festival. Subscribe to the channel if you can and you haven't already. And again, we will see you very soon.